What's good, beautiful people? It's your girl Tay. I'm here yet again with another stimulus update video today. So definitely make sure you guys smash that like button, comment down below, subscribe, plus push your post notification bell button so that when anytime I upload a video, you will be notified. So I'm pretty sure you guys already know I'm already late to the game. Stimulus package has been signed by President Joe Biden as of today. Today is Thursday, March the 11th. It was originally supposed to be signed tomorrow, which is Friday. But we know President Joe Biden has been saying for the longest that he wants to hurry up and infuse this relief into the economy as soon as possible. He wants to get these stimulus checks out to American citizens as soon as possible because he knows that we desperately need the relief. So the interesting thing that I want to tell you guys is that I actually did call the IRS yesterday, and they have a second line, or they have a section of the IRS that deals just directly with economic impact payments, which is another word for your stimulus payments. So they transferred me over there after I was done talking to them about what was going on with the taxes and all of that. And that young lady pretty much told me, I had some general questions that I asked her, so I'm going to share that with you guys. But one of the main questions I asked her, considering that there are so many of us who are in limbo with our taxes, and they're supposed to use your 2020 taxes for the third stimulus check. So if you didn't know, they're supposed to use your 2020 tax return for information for your stimulus check. Now, if you have not yet filed your 2020 tax return, then of course they will use your 2019. But for those of us who are kind of in limbo, and this is information that I did try to ask the IRS representative as well, but she was really unsure of herself, didn't really know what to say. But I'll get to that in, of course, a separate video, because that's going to be a whole nother set of emotions that we need to deal with at a later time. But what the young lady told me in the stimulus department is basically that if they have not filed, or if your information is not made available to them by the IRS, then they will use, she said a good rule of thumb is that they will just automatically use your 2019 tax return. So for those of you who did get your stimulus payments with no problems from from the first and the second stimulus payments, if you were able to use the Get My Payment portal to change your information even after filing your 2019 taxes, then that is pretty much the information that they are going to be going to be using to distribute your stimulus payment if you are eligible. Now, of course, worst case scenario, if you do not have any banking information, then you probably will receive either a check or a debit card, because they don't have any banking information on file. Now, just to dig a little bit deeper, what she also told me, she said that there were a couple of dates that were going around in the office, that she was saying that depending on when the president had signed the package, which this was yesterday. So she was thinking, and we all were thinking he was going to sign it on Friday. She was saying that she heard that they could start depositing the stimulus payments into bank accounts as early as this weekend, which we know for the second stimulus payment, that's pretty much what they did, because they already have the system set up. It's going to be very easy for them to just go ahead and distribute those payments quickly, which all of us have pretty much already agreed that 9 times out of 10, for a majority of us, we're probably going to receive our stimulus payments before we actually receive our tax refund, which again, I will talk to you guys about that in a completely separate video. This weekend, or either worst case scenario for direct deposits, we know that direct deposits are going to get their disbursements first for the stimulus checks. It usually take, I'll say, 1 to 2 days, between 24 to 48 hours, depending on your banking institution, for your stimulus funds to hit your account. So let's say that they did actually deposit it on a Saturday. It's possible that it could be available again, depending on your bank. Most banks are closed. So 9 times out of 10, you won't see those funds as being available until either Monday or Tuesday the following week. For everybody else, they're hoping to have everything sent out, even the ones that need to be mailed out, by the end of this month. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see some more clarity on that as the situation continues to update. Okay. But on that note, then not too long ago, we had some information from our Treasury Secretary. Okay. So it says some Americans will receive new stimulus checks as soon as this weekend. This is coming straight from the White House. Okay. The news from the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. There's a P in front of that S, but I'm assuming it's silent. Okay. So Jen Psaki came minutes after President Joe Biden signed the $1.9 trillion pandemic relief bill. people can expect to start seeing direct deposits hit their bank accounts as early as this weekend. This is, of course, just the first wave. Psaki noted, adding that the payments to eligible Americans will continue throughout the course of the next several weeks. Okay. So, beyond the billions of dollars in funding for vaccination, state and local governments and other areas, the plan will send $1,400 direct payments to majority of the Americans. Now, we know that the unemployment boost has been cut down from $400 a week to $300 a week, but it will also go up until September 6th instead of its original plan of ending at August 29th. Some other things to take into consideration is that for the unemployment benefits, you guys know that the first $10,200 of your unemployment benefits are tax-free, which means if you have already filed your taxes against those, if you have already paid taxes for those, you will most likely get some extra money from the IRS. However, considering everything that's going on with them and the fact that they are so behind, I couldn't begin to tell you when that is going to happen, how it is going to happen. As of right now, I don't believe, or it hasn't been mentioned that you will need to literally contact your tax preparer and submit an amendment. I think that is something that they are going to handle on the back end in order for them to fix the new law that was recently signed. Okay. I think that's the only thing that we can hope for most of us when it comes to the stimulus payments, is that most likely we'll be receiving them. For those of you who have direct deposit information on file, that you will receive them hopefully sometime this weekend at the very latest. If they do start to send out those deposits by the beginning of next week, and then everybody else will follow through. Now, one thing that I did want to mention, some information that I found prior to President Joe Biden actually signing the stimulus bill into law, is that some of the garnishments are not safe. But let me get to okay, here we go. Sorry about the delay, y'all, but it says because these payments are included in a budget process called budget reconciliation. Remember, that's the process that they use to go ahead and push this stimulus package out, rather than going through what they went through the first two times, which is doing a negotiation and a vote back and forth between the House and the Senate. They use a completely different process. So because of that, it says that they are not protected. The stimulus checks are not protected from garnishments or unpaid debts. Now, this does not include all garnishments, okay? Some banking and consumer groups are calling for that to change. It says Congress is poised to authorize new $1,400 stimulus checks, but some people with unpaid debts could have that money garnished at this time. It says, like the two previous rounds of stimulus checks, the $1,400 checks will go to everybody using the same rules. We know now that it is going to be $75,000 for single head of household. I believe it's $112,000, and married couples it's $150,000. For single, once you reach $80,000, you no longer qualify for a stimulus check. For head of household, once you receive, I believe it's $125,000, you no longer qualify for a stimulus check. And then for married couples, once you reach $160,000, you no longer qualify for a stimulus check. Okay. It says, so it looks like the only thing that is safe is child support debts, or I think government or federal debts that are unpaid. But if you have any private debt, that could possibly be an issue for you. I'm trying to actually get to the part where it says it, because it would sound so much better if I could read it to you, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding that actual part. Consumer and banking trade groups, including the American Bankers Association, sent a letter to the congressional and Senate leaders on Monday calling for the stimulus payments to be exempt from garnishment. Otherwise, the families that most need this money, those struggling with debt and whose entire bank accounts may be frozen by garnishment orders, will not be able to access their funds. The group calls on Congress to pass a standalone bill, which I did see a notification today from Representative Wyden, who is actually in the process of drafting up a standalone bill that says that the stimulus checks are completely safe from all types of garnishments. However, that's a process in itself. So that's not anything that is enacted right now. So as of right now, some people may have their stimulus checks garnished. Okay. In general, there are three kinds of unpaid debts that can be satisfied via garnishment: unpaid IRS tax debt, other government debt, or private debt. According to Tax Foundation senior policy analyst Garrett Watson, okay? The $1,400 payments would be protected from outstanding tax debt or debt collected by governments, including child support offsets. So if it's child support, you do not have to worry. However, stimulus payments are not protected from collection for private debts, okay? So private debts. Now, it doesn't give any extra specifics on what they mean by private debts, but I do know that for the most part, any government or federal agency is not allowed to garnish your debt. But any private debts that do have the ability to garnish you, it's a possibility that they can get your stimulus check, okay? It says, because there are limited ways for people to change their bank account information with the IRS, there is little people can do to prevent the funds from getting taken, except perhaps closing their accounts, Watson said. Now, I'm not definitely telling you guys to do that. If you do have banking accounts, I honestly don't know what advice I would be able to give you in that situation, because again, I'm not sure how they would be able to get to you. I'm not sure if they can just take it the way that child support works. Child support doesn't necessarily go into your bank account. They just take the funds before it hits your bank account, if that makes any sense. So I'm not as sure if it works the same for private debt collectors. So that is some information that if any of you are in that situation would have to look into. But as far as I know, you're completely safe from things like child support and any other federal or government agency, okay? Another good thing that I wanted to note, or I should say not so great thing, is I haven't seen anything regarding the $200 SSI expansion that was originally promised by President Joe Biden. Doesn't mean that it's not going to come back up in the future, but as of right now, it is not in this stimulus package. The eviction moratorium is still scheduled to expire at the end of this month, March 31st. And as of right now, I have not seen any information that suggests that that is going to change or be extended. However, it says, if your mortgage has been in forbearance, you have just been granted another reprieve. The Federal Housing Finance Agency announced Thursday that borrowers may be eligible for an additional 3 months extension of their payment pause. Coupled with previously announced extensions of the program, that means most mortgage holders struggling to make their payments as a result of the pandemic have up to 18 months of breathing room. The deadline to request forbearance or extensions is now June 30th. So even though the eviction moratorium is not extended as of right now, there is definitely some great news for those of you who have mortgages and those of you who need help and a little bit of extra wiggle room. So definitely look into that, getting that whole 18 months worth of breathing room for your mortgage forbearance. All right. But on that note, you guys, I'm definitely going to say, oh, no. Let me go over the names of the states that have been approved for pandemic EBT. I'm still not seeing California. I don't know what's going on. I feel like by the time California and the rest of the states jump on board, they're going to be talking about we don't need pandemic EBT no more. But currently we have Arizona, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. On that note, for the states that have currently been approved for the emergency SNAP allotments for March. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, which I'm pretty sure I haven't, they also added in this current American Rescue Plan package that they want to extend the 15% increase. Instead of it now ending at the end of June, it is now going to end in September. So we get an extra 3 months of that 15% increase. Now, how long the emergency allotments are going to last, I haven't seen any information about that, but I do think that that's something that's great for us to look forward to, even for those of us who may have children that are going back to school, not mine, but for those of you who do have children that are going back to school or not, you're still going to get that extra 15% boost all the way up until September of 2021. Now, the months that have currently been approved for emergency SNAP for the month of March: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Florida, Georgia, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So on that note, you guys, I'm going to say great news. Hallelujah. Amen. All of that. God bless your heart and all your parts. Remember to live, love, and elevate. And I will definitely see you guys in the next video. Peace.